Every road you have driven in the last 20 years was finished by a German roller. Every motorway across France, every Autobahn across Germany, every interstate across the United States, every airport runway in North America and Europe, the asphalt mat was laid by a paver and then sealed by a compactor. The paver gets the visible credit. The compactor decides whether the road lasts 3 years or 30. 3 European brands own roughly 70% of the global compaction roller segment. The first is Bomag, founded in 1957 in Boppard, Germany, by a mechanical engineer named Karl-Heinz Schwamborn. The second is Ham, founded in 1878 in Tirschenreuth, Bavaria, almost a century before Bomag existed. The third is Dynapac, originally a Swedish company under Atlas Copco, today owned by the French Fiat Group. Caterpillar makes compaction rollers. The Cat CB14 and the Cat C S78B are the flagship single drum and tandem models built out of facilities in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota and Minerbio, Italy. The Cat compactor is competent. The Cat compactor is not what the State Department of Transportation engineer specifies when the project is the new interstate widening. The story of how Caterpillar lost the global compaction segment is a story about 2 corporate acquisitions in 1 year. The year is 2017. In June of that year, John Deere announced the acquisition of the Wirtgen Group for 4.6 billion euros, which included Ham. The deal closed December 1st. The same calendar year, Atlas Copco announced the sale of Dynapac to the Fiat Group for approximately 1.1 billion euros. 2 of the 3 largest compaction roller manufacturers in the world changed corporate parents in the same 12 months. Caterpillar made neither acquisition. If you have run a tandem or a single drum vibratory roller on any motorway or interstate project in the last 20 years, and you have watched the European Yellow take share from Caterpillar, subscribe. The channel works through 1 machine class, 1 corporate decision, 1 European factory at a time. The list is long. Today, the roller. Let's start with what the machine actually does. A Bomag B W213DH5 is a single drum vibratory roller with a roughly 13-ton operating weight, a wide drum width, and a frequency tuned for the kind of soil compaction that comes before the asphalt mat is even laid. A Ham HD plus 140 HVO is an articulated tandem roller, double drum, designed for the final asphalt seal on the finished mat. A Dynapac CC 2200 is a comparable articulated tandem. 3 machines, 3 configurations, 3 Wirtgen Fiat parent companies, 1 common engineering signature. A Caterpillar CB14 is the closest Cat equivalent to the Ham HD plus 140 in operating weight and configuration. The Cat CB14 weighs roughly 14 tons and runs a comparable double drum tandem layout. On paper, the Cat CB14 and the Ham HD plus 140 are similar machines. On the job site, the contractor crew choosing between them, when the contractor crew has a choice, picks the Ham. The reason is not horsepower. The reason is mat density consistency, which is the technical metric the State Department of Transportation engineer measures with a nuclear density gauge after the roller leaves. The Ham articulated frame geometry, the vibration frequency modulation, the operator feedback on drum offset, all combine to give the Ham a slight but consistent advantage on mat density across hundreds of compaction passes on a single project. 3 or 4% better density, 2 or 3% fewer passes per linear meter, 0.5% less reject material at the post-compaction density test. On a $100 million interstate widening, those percentages are real money. Bomag operates the same engineering signature on the single drum side. The Bomag B W213 is what the German earthworks contractor uses on every motorway base course preparation. The Bomag rolls the subgrade. The Bomag rolls the granular base. The Bomag rolls the bituminous base. When the asphalt mat arrives, the Ham takes over for the finish. 2 German brands, 2 specialized configurations, 1 continuous European compaction system that the contractor crew runs from start to finish. Dynapac on the Fiat side is the Scandinavian engineering layer. The Dynapac CC tandem rollers and the CA single drum rollers come out of plants in Karlskrona, Sweden and Wardenburg, Germany. The Fiat Group operates Bomag, Dynapac, and several smaller asphalt plant and paver brands as a single French-controlled European compaction conglomerate. Fiat is not a household name in North America. Fiat is one of the 4 or 5 largest European industrial groups in the road construction segment. Now look at the Cat compactor business. Caterpillar entered serious compaction roller production through the 1991 acquisition of Barber Green in Aurora, Illinois, then expanded the segment through the 1999 acquisition of Batelli in Minerbio, Italy. Batelli was a respected Italian paver and compaction roller manufacturer. The Batelli acquisition gave Cat European manufacturing presence in compaction. But Cat folded Batelli into the larger Caterpillar Paving Products organization, did not preserve the Batelli brand identity, and did not invest in the Minerbio plant at the level Bomag, Ham, and Dynapac invested in their German and Swedish plants. By 2017, when the Wirtgen and Dynapac transactions happened, Cat was running a competent but second-tier compaction business out of Brooklyn Park and Minerbio. Cat had the dealer network. Cat had the brand. Cat did not have the engineering culture. The contractor crew that needed precision mat density on a high-specification motorway was specifying Ham or Bomag, not Cat. In June 2017, John Deere paid 4.6 billion euros for the entire Wirtgen Group, including Ham, the largest acquisition in John Deere corporate history. The same month, Atlas Copco announced the spin-off of its compaction business, then the sale of that compaction business to Fiat. The Fiat Dynapac transaction closed later in 2017 for approximately 1.1 billion euros. 2 transactions, totaling roughly 5.7 billion euros, that moved the bulk of the global high-specification compaction roller market under John Deere and Fiat control in a single calendar year. If you operate a roller yourself, the operator tier at $5.99 gets you early access to videos like this one. Subscribe, and the next 20 European versus American breakdowns come straight to your feed. Link in the description. Now, back to the corporate decision. Caterpillar had every opportunity in early 2017 to make a competing bid on the Wirtgen Group. Caterpillar had the cash. Caterpillar had the global dealer network. Caterpillar had the strategic reason. Buying Wirtgen would have consolidated the European paver plus compactor plus cold milling stack under Caterpillar Paving Products. The acquisition would have been transformative. Caterpillar passed. Caterpillar also had the opportunity to bid on Dynapac when Atlas Copco announced the divestment. Dynapac was a smaller transaction at roughly 1.1 billion euros. The strategic value was specifically the Scandinavian compaction engineering plus the Karlskrona and Wardenburg plant assets. Caterpillar passed on that one too. The audience that has worked around Cat corporate culture for 20 years already understands why. Caterpillar in early 2017 had just moved corporate headquarters from Peoria, Illinois to Chicago, Illinois. Within 18 months, Cat would announce a second move from Chicago to Irving, Texas. The corporate culture making capital allocation decisions about whether to spend $4.6 billion on Wirtgen was 3,000 miles removed from Brooklyn Park and Minerbio. The European compaction segment was a product line item, not a strategic priority. A multi-billion euro acquisition of a European industrial group does not look attractive on a return on assets spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet was the decision-making instrument. John Deere was willing to absorb the goodwill suppression that the Wirtgen acquisition would put on the balance sheet for several years. Fiat was a privately held French industrial group that did not have public shareholders to answer to about quarterly return ratios. Both buyers operated on different time horizons than Caterpillar. Both buyers won the assets. The consequence of those 2017 decisions has compounded across nearly 9 years now. John Deere folded Ham into the Wirtgen Group operating structure, kept the Tirschenreuth plant in Bavaria as the design center, kept the engineering team, kept the dealer network. The Ham brand identity inside the Wirtgen Group inside Deere is now stronger than it was before the acquisition. Fiat did the same with Dynapac. The Karlskrona and Wardenburg plants kept the engineering teams. The Dynapac brand identity inside Fiat is preserved. Bomag, which Fiat had acquired earlier in 2005, was already running smoothly under Fiat ownership by 2017. The combined Fiat Group compaction portfolio of Bomag plus Dynapac, with their separate German and Scandinavian engineering centers, gave Fayette the broadest compaction product range of any single corporate owner in the global market. Meanwhile, Caterpillar Paving Products has continued operating. The CB14 and the CS78B and the variants thereof, refining the same chassis platforms the company had been building since the Barber Green acquisition. Solid machines. Competent machines. No serious response to the Workgen and Fayette consolidations that reshaped the segment in 2017. Look at the Bauma Trade Fair in Munich, the global heavy equipment industry event held biennially in odd years. Bauma 2019 was the first Bauma after both the Workgen and Dynapac transactions closed. The Workgen Group exhibit included the full Ham tandem roller lineup at full demonstration scale. The Fayette exhibit included Bomag and Dynapac under a single corporate footprint. The Caterpillar exhibit included the C, B, and CS compactor lines as one section within a much larger Caterpillar product display. Trade show square meters dedicated to compaction at Bauma 2025 followed a similar ratio. The Wirtgen Group and the Fayette Group treated compaction as a strategic showcase. Caterpillar treated compaction as a product line. Now, let's go back to the engineering history. Ham was founded in 1878 in Tirschenreuth, Bavaria. 1878. That was almost 50 years before the first mechanized asphalt finisher existed. Ham started as a rolling stock and agricultural machinery manufacturer, then moved into road compaction in the early 20th century, then specialized through the post-war Reconstruction era. By the time the Workgen Group acquired Ham in 2000, Ham was a 122-year-old continuous compaction engineering company. John Deere did not acquire a company that needed turning around in 2017. John Deere acquired a 140-year-old engineering tradition embedded in a Bavarian plant. Bomag was founded in 1957 by Karl-Heinz Schwamborn in the Rhineland town of Boppard. Schwamborn built the company on post-war German motorway construction demand. 67 years of continuous compaction, roller engineering. Fayette acquired Bomag in 2005, kept Schwamborn's plant, kept the engineering team, ran Bomag as a Bomag. Dynapac traces back to 1934 when it was founded in Sweden as a compaction equipment manufacturer. 90 years of continuous Scandinavian compaction engineering. Atlas Copco acquired Dynapac in 1997, ran it for 20 years, then sold to Fayette in 2017. Fayette preserved the Karlskrona Swedish plant identity. 3 European brands, 3 different national engineering traditions, 3 different multi-generation compaction cultures, all preserved and amplified by the corporate parents that acquired them. Caterpillar's compaction roller business descends from the 1991 Barber Green acquisition and the 1999 Batelli acquisition, neither of which Caterpillar preserved as a distinct engineering culture. Some balance is worth stating clearly. Caterpillar remains the global #1 manufacturer of heavy construction equipment overall, with roughly 3 times the market share of Volvo construction equipment across all product segments combined. In bulldozers, in large mining trucks, in motor graders, Caterpillar still holds dominant global positions. The argument is segment-specific. In the compaction roller segment, the segment Ham has been refining since 1878 and Bomag since 1957, and Dynapac since 1934, Caterpillar holds a distant 4th position behind 3 European brands operated by 2 non-Cat corporate parents. Look ahead, 5 years to 2030. By 2030, the European Union infrastructure modernization programs will have moved through their full deployment phase. State departments of transportation in the United States, under the Federal Infrastructure Investment Program, will have completed the largest pavement rehabilitation cycle since the original interstate construction. The contractor companies bidding those projects will specify Ham or Bomag or Dynapac compaction rollers because the mat density consistency is what wins the bid. The Caterpillar CB and CS series will continue to operate on secondary roads, county work, smaller paving projects. The combined Bomag plus Ham plus Dynapac global share in 2030 will likely be higher than the roughly 70% the 3 brands hold today. The Caterpillar share will likely remain in the 10 to 15% range that the CB and CS series have held for the past decade. Here is what the Caterpillar dealer will not tell you. The Ham HD Plus 140 has the matte density. The Bomag B W213 has the base coarse compaction history. The Dynapac CC Tandem has the Scandinavian engineering signature. The CAT CB14 has the brand recognition and the financing terms, and the contractor crew that gets to choose is choosing one of the 3 European machines anyway. Tell me in the comments what compactor you would buy with your own money for a real motorway job. Bomag B W213, Ham HD Plus 140, Dynapac CC 2200, Caterpillar C B14. The auction prices already know the answer. And if you are wondering whether Caterpillar can come back to dominance in the compaction roller segment over the next decade, the answer is in the next John Deere quarterly report and the next Fiat Group annual report. Watch what Ham and Bomag and Dynapac grow. Watch what Caterpillar Paving Products does not announce. The next compactor Caterpillar builds will be sold against 3 machines, all built in factories that Caterpillar could have bought in 2017 and chose not to. That is the segment Caterpillar still does not understand. Ham has been building compaction rollers since 1878, Bomag since 1957, Dynapac since 1934. The Wirtgen Group and the Fiat Group between them now own the European compaction stack. John Deere and a privately held French industrial conglomerate from the Bordeaux region own the future of global high-specification road compaction. The auction sheet, the trade show footprint, the John Deere quarterly report, and the next motorway widening tender all already know how the next decade is going to look. The European yellow roller is the road. The Caterpillar CB is the bid the State Department of Transportation engineer politely declines.